What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. I'm gonna chill with you for a minute, and I'm actually not gonna be driving like I'm Uber. I'm gonna enjoy my coffee and share a valuable lesson with you today. It has to do with actual structure and organization, and how much of a key role that plays, and whether or not how far you're gonna go, and how far you'll make it. And as a salesman, or even just getting into sales, or just going about your daily hustle to create your empire and establish your pipeline, to a lot of credit actually has to go with your ability to structure yourself, and the self-discipline that it takes to have time management and the discipline that you need in order to kind of proceed and follow through on those deadlines and that commitment. And you're going to find that the more people you deal with, there are some who have a specific demand to have things done in a timely order. Like, they don't even give a fuck about price. They don't care about rate. They don't really care about too many things. They just want to make sure that your execution is proper, you're professional, and you're on time. And the only way you can really sense this, or give that kind of aura and give that impression through your tonality and through your responses and your engagement, is if you're organized and you're like you have some sort of structure to where you can quickly recall these things, and you have confidence. Because what happens when you get asked a question or something happens and you don't have the organizational skills to quickly allocate those notes, or quickly pull up that record, and there's no real time management, so you forgot you're 3 hours behind on this appointment, and now that person's pissed, and the full hour you took just to even set that appointment is down the drain. And so I haven't really put any too much content on this subject of being organized, being structured, and being just all in all pro. And there's two methods that I'm gonna share with you, and these methods are very, very clear, and I'm gonna summarize it so it's not too long of a video. But there's two methods where structure, discipline, and time management is really gonna come into play, and as an advantage to you. And number one, you'll be shocked, is actually notes. Is just how well you documented your engagement. Because if you speak to 1, 2, or 3 leads per day, or you speak to 8, 9, or 10 leads a day, you have to be able to document something within that engagement. Because what if you can't flip them right then and there? What if it requires you to call them back in a week, or in a couple days, or a month, or next year? You want to be able to document that engagement, pick up things like things that they mention, like they're building a new backyard, or they're taking a trip to Tahiti, or whatever. And when you next speak with them, just to differentiate yourself, you bring up something from your last talk. That goes a long way. It shows you're professional, and you didn't even have to say it. Like, you don't have to say, man, I'm so professional, I remember this. You just do it through actions. And that's what I think prospects really desire, is they just want to see execution, and it means a lot to them. And by having the organization, or kind of just at least the efficient notes, it's going to help you a great deal in a few ways. Number one is, it will help you confidently let go of the lead. So that way you're not, you're not in a rush to close them. Of course, every deal should have its urgency, but at the same time, if the client lets you go and says, you know what, I'll call you back in 3 days, you're not necessarily tied to it, because in the back of your mind, you're like, man, I'm probably gonna forget all this. I'm not, like, why not now? And to some degree, our frustration, our tonality changes, because we know that we feel that we have to start all over again, when you actually don't. A lot of selling, I would say one of the main tasks of selling is lead management. And if you know how to manage your leads, you know how to process your leads, you know how to harvest your leads, you'll know the concept of farming. And when, sometimes we just need to farm a lead. Maybe they're not ready to go, they're not ready to jump, they're not ready to buy, or maybe they have something holding them back, credit issues. There's various things, a lot of different reasons as to why a sale couldn't happen that one given moment. And we have to expect this, we have to plan for it. We don't have to expect it to the point where we assume that they're not going to buy. You always have to have that confidence and tonality of, we got to do this right now. don't go overboard, don't be too pushy, otherwise you're going to push them away. But you have to do it in a professional manner. The delivery is going to be very helpful if you're organized, you're sharp, you're on time. Because when you're structured and you have these organizational skills, you're going to notice that you're not as stressed, you're not always in a rush, you're not always 3 or 4 hours behind on your day. You can confidently jump into any given scenario, and you have a set sequence of steps that you need to take to quickly pull up a reminder or notes on your last conversation with that prospect. This helps a great deal. You may not realize it right now, but it does. And another reason why the notes are helpful is because in your notes, you're taking quotes that they say, and there are key words that are very powerful and impactful in your conversation as well as your pitch. There's that abbreviation ABC, always be closing, and this is how. So when you take notes and they tell you their goal, right? So you're going to hear them say certain things like, I need to do this, their keyword is need, versus I want to do this. Again, you want to make note like they want. And these are subtle clues as to what kind of buyer you have in front of you, what kind of prospect you have in front of you. And then there are other clues like, I want to hear about this option, keyword is here, versus I want to see what you have. And again, two different ways to pitch one, right? One, you're going to say, hey, you know what, let me go and put this together. I'll go over it with you. And after you hear what type of benefits I can deliver for you, you can make a decision to move forward. And again, it's just using words that they'll relate to. It's using words that they're comfortable with. Whereas if they said, I want to see these options, your callback or your pitch and say, hey, I came up with a great alternative. I'm going to go and email it to you so you could see the numbers and we can go over the information together. This is how you present them, because their key word was, I want to see. So they're more kind of visual learners. Whereas the one who says, I want to hear, they're more audio learners. They're auditory learners. And again, these are key things that make the sales process so much easier when you understand what kind of prospect you have in front of you, right? You start to adapt and differentiate yourself from everyone else. Another thing of when you take down notes is you're able to use their own verbiage, their own wordplay to emphasize the weight of a certain word or a certain benefit. And so, for example, if they called in and say, hey, you know what, I'm looking for a phenomenal option that you have today in order to do A, B, and C. And so when you're making your notes, as you should, you want to put phenomenal, right? Looking for phenomenal. And that's a key word that you're going to want to use in your pitch. And so, for example, if you're pitching it, say, hey, you know what, Daniel, I just came up with an option. I want to run it by you real quick. I know that you wanted to hear about it. So let me go ahead and go over this with you and let me know what you think. And let's just say that was, I said here. And say, so as I was putting the numbers together for you, I came up with a phenomenal idea and I want to run it by you. And then this is your pitch. And then you go into your pitch versus like, hey, I got a couple options, option 1, option 2, option 3. You're actually going to create the sense that they have options and then thus influence them subconsciously to go shop these different options. You are thus now just an option to this consumer. Whereas you want to be more kind of just that right-hand man. You want to be the one that knows how to operate smooth, is sharp, is organized, is structured, is disciplined. And that sometimes separates you, and that's just that one adjustment that you could do to really pick up your sales. Now, another way that time management helps is there are certain times in the day of when to engage with your client and when to go over tough conversations. And whether it's a pitch or you go over a restructuring of a deal because something blew up or there's a fire you had to put out and everything's changed. There are certain times when you should be handling that. For example, and I'll go more in depth on other videos. So be sure right now, if you have not yet, subscribe. It's that red button that says subscribe on it on the bottom right hand corner of this video, and hit that bell so that way you're kept up to date with my uploads. You immediately see the topic of the upload so you can decipher whether or not you should jump on and listen to it on your way to work or at your lunch or on your way home. And Time management. For example, did you know that between the hours of 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. is the absolute best time to catch your prospect in their optimal state, meaning they're aware, they're thinking, they're focused, they're more likely to react and engage and give you what you need. And sometimes what we need is just more information, or we just need compliance and approval to proceed and actually finalize the closing, right? And so why this is so optimal is just because, like, for right now, if you've been watching my uploads, I always vlog on my way to go get coffee. And then by the time I'm done doing 2 videos, it's barely 8 in the morning. It's barely 8:30 in the morning. So I'm going into work. I've already accomplished so many things. I went to the gym, shot 2 videos, did 2 posts. And so it's like clockwork, but we all have these habits. And then by 9 a.m., I'm fully warmed up. I'm optimal. You know, I'm ready. And just like our clients, they're already gone through their process and they've already gotten their coffee. They've already took a shot of their 5-hour energy drink, their Red Bull, their caffeine, syringe, whatever, however they take it. They're now geared and they're now prepared. And so between the hours of 8 a.m. to 11:30 is the best time to catch them. But sometimes they're busy, so you got to get creative on that. And I got tons of content on here. So again, hit subscribe, and it's going to open up all the playlists. It's going to open up all the videos where you'll be able to just see all this information that helps you get through to the next sale and elevate your game. But during those times, keep that in mind, because if you catch them at 11:30 to 2:30, they've already had lunch. Who knows how big their lunch is, and who knows how lethargic they are, and who knows how much they hate themselves because of their choices at lunch. And you don't want to get caught up with that. And a key thing is, because it applies also for the hours of 2:30 all the way to 6:30, is the tonality. It's not just focusing on your tonality, your delivery, but you're also trying to focus on the tonality of your prospects. You're trying to focus on the engagement that you're getting back from your prospects, right? So are they focused on you? Are they listening to you? Or are they kind of trying to get you off the phone? Or can you tell they just got in an argument with their spouse or had a frustrating time in traffic? Maybe it's not now a good time to pitch your product. But we have a biased opinion in some cases. We could have been working a 12-hour day. We planned to go home at 6. We had a pitch time at 5, and traffic let it out to 6. So now we got to decipher, like, damn, I was supposed to go home, or do I got to make this money? And sometimes we opt to try to rush it, right? And say, fuck it, I'm going to try to make this sale real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and skate. I'm going to leave for the day. But the problem is, though, is that your tonality, your mood, everything changes. Is because you're trying to rush through the process. And your prospects don't care about whether you got to go home. Your prospects don't care how bad of a day you got. Your prospects are just more concerned that you're ready. You're ready to give them what they want, and they expect you to be operating at your prime level, and so you have to deliver that. And whether you got to call a spouse or make arrangements and say, hey, I might be home a little late, or tell your prospect, say, hey, you know what, I'm actually on my way out. I'm gonna call you from my cell phone, and I'm gonna talk to you on the way home through your Bluetooth. Whatever you got to do, make time, because that's what we grind for, is to get up to that point where we can make that close. And if you have an opportunity to make that close, you wipe your whole desk clean. You keep your workspace clean, so that your whole focus is that prospect, so that prospect feels like there's no one on earth, there's no one that you are dealing with besides them. And they're going to get that red carpet treatment. They're going to get that personalized service. They're going to get that 24/7 access to the go-to person, and that's you. So I hope that this video helps. Check out the content. Please hit that thumbs up button. Hit the comment. Let me know what your feedback was, what your takeaway was. And don't forget to hit that little arrow that's popping out. It's called share button. It's going to give you an opportunity to copy the link, paste it onto your LinkedIn, paste it onto an email to someone in sales who may need this reminder, may need this advice to help them boost up their income and get that promotion, or get that tier, or get that paycheck, or get that car, or get them rims, or get that house. Whatever it is, it's just going to open up that opportunity. So I hope that your opportunities come to you delivered on a silver platter, and you're using the tips, the tricks, the strategies, the content here at Sales Remastered to elevate and step up your game, your income, your mindset, your motivation, and your morale. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.